place, and please talk to me. He showed up. But if he hadn't, Todd's store and I wouldn't have seen this dawn or the other one. His name was, Mahoney, the terrorist. He forced his way into the penthouse. And, I was there alone with Star. Todd walked in. Mahoney was all set to shoot every one of us.
Patrick stopped him?
Stopped him dead.
What happened? Please, tell me nothing happened to Patrick.
I can't.
I knew today was going to turn out like this.
What did he say?
Coroner said the same thing that he said last time that he called me. Patrick Thornhart's body is not in the morgue.
And in the meantime, I haven't been able to reach Marty anywhere.
Yeah, but I don't get it, Hank. An hour ago, the coroner, he calls me, but not to say that he's performed an autopsy on Patrick's body. He asks me where the body is. None of his staff received Patrick's body last night. Now, that doesn't make sense.
Bo, just take it easy, all right?
I miss the guy, Hank.
Yeah, look, I know. Patrick was a good guy. Just try to hang in there.
Okay. So Patrick was killed. The EMS took him to the hospital. And Marty told him that she would deliver Patrick to the morgue by herself.
Well, she obviously did sign the death certificate. Here it is, and that's her signature.
Yeah, but isn't there supposed to be a body that comes with one of these? Hey.
Hey.
You're up early?
No, or late. Whatever. Like maybe all night. I've been running around town like crazy looking for Marty ever since you called and told me about Patrick.
No luck?
No, none. After I got her phone machine 10 or 15 times, I went to the hospital, and no one's seen her there.
Maybe she went home and unplugged the phone.
Oh, I thought about that, too. I went to the mill house. There's no lights, no car, no Marty. What is going on, Bo?
It's funny, I was about to ask you the same question, only about Patrick.
What do you mean?
Maybe you could fill us in on what happened to him.
Oh, you know very well he's dead.
I know what I saw. I saw him wrapped up and taken away by the EMS. I just wish I could have seen what happened after that. Because the only victim from last night's shooting that's in Landview Hospital right now is Mel Hayes.
So still. It's gonna be fine.
You know, Dorian, he flatlined last night on that operating table, and he came right back. Look at him. His color's good, he's resting. And Dorothy's with him.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Mel and the dwarf haven't been on the most stellar terms lately.
Then I can only imagine how happy he's gonna be when he opens those eyes and he sees her there.
I just can't believe that Patrick's gone.
We've lost a good friend.
Yeah. To all of us.
Thanks.
You know, Patrick, he liked you an awful lot.
He was fond of you too, Kelly. I guess all of us were pretty lucky.
We were. I'm sorry. How's Mel?
He's still in critical condition.
He's gonna be fine. Okay, I know that.
Oh, Dorothy, I would like you to meet my other niece, Blair Daimler. This is Mel's daughter, Dorothy.
Hello, Dorothy.
Hi.
I'm so sorry that this happened. It was a horrible accident.
Was it? I wonder if my father didn't want to get himself killed.
Check out ABC Wednesdays.
It wasn't an accident. Mel deliberately put himself in the line of fire.
Terrific.
To save his friends, not to kill himself.
Your father is the most marvelous man. Even when he is doing something as simple as swinging in a hammock. What he did yesterday was nothing short of magnificent.
It's been a while since I associated that word with him. It's nice to hear. So who are his friends?
Patrick Thornhart and Marty Saybrook. They were married yesterday.
There was gunfire at a wedding?
The terrorists dressed up as waiters and they were mingling in the crowd. Your father overheard them planning to shoot Marty and Patrick, and there was no time to call the police. The animals just pulled their guns and started shooting, and Mel flung himself between them and Patrick and Marty without a thought to his own safety. He shouted to everybody to run for cover, and well, you know the old adage, a good deed never goes unpunished.
Are his friends all right?
Oh, well, Marty, she's fine. She always comes out all right. But, Patrick. No, Patrick, he died about an hour or so later.
By the same people?
Well, you see, Patrick went after one of the guys then, in part, see, Patrick was trying to protect my little girl, and he died saving her because of her father.
Or death.
I was worried about how Mel would take this news when he heard about it. A year. No, actually, it was 2 years, such a short span. To have lost a wife and a father. Another loss could really be a devastating blow, but I just have to tell you, I really think that he has turned the corner, genuinely.
How do you mean?
We both know that he's turned self-destructiveness into a high art form.
Yes?
Not since that visit to New York with you. That's my point.
Dad hasn't been drinking?
Not to my knowledge. Of course, he's been absolutely miserable about it, but you know your dad. He's tenacious once he's made up his mind.
You know, Dorothy, your father, he's so different, you know, when he first came to Lambview. We all love him so much. And I know that I would do anything for him. I was in quite a bit of trouble. And he was like a father to me.
So, is there anything that we can do for you?
No, thanks. There's nothing. I'm fine.
Are you sure?
Actually, there is one thing.
Of course.
My grandmother is on her way to Lambview. She's scheduled to land actually any minute. If you could just
Let me know when she shows up.
Oh, I can do better than that. I'll have a limousine go pick her up at the airport.
Thanks, that won't be necessary. Excuse me.
Well, she certainly knows what she wants.
And doesn't.
Patrick's body never made it to the hospital?
Oh, it made it to the hospital, all right. It just disappeared somewhere between the ambulance and the morgue.
And the last time anybody saw Patrick's body, Marty was wheeling it away from the EMS. She hasn't been seen since.
Care to comment, counselor?
I have no idea what's going on, and if I did, I certainly wouldn't have been running around crazy all night looking for Marty.
So it's an official mystery. Missing corpse, missing widow.
Yeah, can you imagine what the press would do if they got a whiff of this?
I don't even want to think about that, Hank.
Yeah, well, you better think about it, buddy, because we've got a press conference in a half an hour. Of course, you know, the press, they're so pumped up about the murder, you know, the subject of the body may never come up.
Let's just try to keep it that way until we can figure out what this is all about, okay?
Yeah, well, to play it safe, we better come up with a prepared statement or two.
All right. All right. Why don't you start? I'll be there in a couple minutes, okay?
Right. Later.
Hey.
Guess Marty hung around long enough to sign that, huh?
Honey, listen. This is the police commissioner's office, okay? It's not a flea market. You can't come in here and just start browsing around.
I wasn't browsing around.
What is this?
That's a documentation that says that my client, a very good man, and one of our dearest friends, is dead. That's what that is.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. So, Patrick's body is missing, not to mention Marty missing. Trouble may not be over.
I know, I thought of that.
I mean, what if there weren't just 2 terrorists here? What if there were 3 or 4? What if there were a dozen of them? You know, what if they nabbed Marty?
I've got a dozen units out there looking for her right now.
I don't understand any of this. I mean, I can understand nabbing Marty, but why would they steal Patrick's body?
Because it's evidence. Because the bullets that killed Patrick are still lodged in his body. They could prove that Mahoney is the shooter. They could implicate whoever he's involved in. Yeah, come on in.
Chief, check this out.
Hey, Benny.
One of the guys on duty at the morgue just found that your name is on it.
Thanks. Don't go too far, okay?
Okay.
Looks to me like we might have some answers, honey. It's for Marty. Dear Bo, by now you know that there was only a note where Patrick's body was supposed to be. Forgive me for not going through channels. I couldn't bear what that would have meant for Patrick and for me. You knew Patrick. All he wanted was peace. He never found it. Not in life. And if the coroner were allowed to conduct an autopsy on his body, that peace Patrick so desperately ached for would elude him, even in death. The least I could do was spare him that, and spare myself the nightmare of another legal proceeding that would prove what I already know. Namely, that the man I loved more than my own life was shot down in cold blood by a criminal who never would have picked up a gun if Todd Manning hadn't made Patrick the focus of all his twisted black bitterness.
It's probably true.
You were there when Patrick died. You know what happened. Saw how it was. You don't need his body to put all the pieces together. So, I'm taking it to a funeral home for cremation as soon as I finish writing this.
She cremated his body in the middle of the night?
There's more, honey.
Patrick's gone. I'm going too. To make a new life somewhere else. Somehow, some way. I will never come back to Landview. How could I? My love died here. I leave with only memories and ashes. Thank you for the friendship and kindness you've shown me over the years, and please tell Nora she'll be in my pantheon forever for her ferocious and wonderful protection of Patrick. I only wish it had been enough to save him, love, Marty.
Touching.
Guess it is.
Linda, have Benny get back in here ASAP. Benny.
What's up, Chief?
I want you to contact every crematorium within a 100-mile radius of here, okay? See if they had any rush jobs. Last night, say late, between 1 and 4 in the morning.
All right, gotcha.
Okay, let's have it, honey.
Have what?
The truth. I think I've waited long enough. Why don't you tell me about your ferocious protection of Patrick?
Do you ever want to have kids? Yeah, 2, for starters. How about you? You know, I never used to even think about it. I figured with the kind of role model mom I had, how good of a job could I have done bringing up a baby? Maybe a great job. Maybe. I confessed to Andrew the other day. I feel possessive of Star when I see her with Blair. I do. Wow. That is step maternal instinct. Yeah. At first, I chalked it up to anger at Blair and my own natural competitiveness. As if Star were a case I wanted to hoard as my own. Well, last night, I found out there was more to it than that. When Mahoney made a move for the stairs to go after the Star, I jumped him. Without a thought, without a plan. I just did it. He had a gun. I had nothing. God damn. But it didn't matter. My body it just acted almost on its own. That is instinct. I have known that little girl 2 months. She's not even mine. I was ready to be killed. Killed before I'd let that perro get at her. He did this to you? Yeah. You know, it's strange. It's more than protectiveness or possessiveness of Star. I think it's love. But it has to stop. It's just way too dangerous.
You were right.
About what?
Star. On some level, I refuse to believe that Todd would put Star in danger. I mean, how could he? He's her father.
Don't blame yourself.
You know, he just wouldn't give up on Patrick. He poked and he prodded and he fanned those flames until everything just exploded. And Patrick, Patrick was killed and nearly killed Star.
And she is still there with them.
I want her back.
So now you finally understand. Star has never been safe with Todd. And this is not some phantom fear that I am projecting from my past onto her. The way that Cassie and Mel would like us to believe.
All right. That was Dr. Maud.
Excuse me, Mel Hayes.
202.
Oh, thank you very much.
Wasn't that Dr. Maud?
Sex and the Mature Woman.
What?
Her book. She wrote it. That's Dr. Maud.
You're kidding.
Dorothy. Oh, sweetheart. How is he?
Well, he just came out of surgery, but he's still unconscious.
Well, I'd like to see his doctor.
I haven't seen him either. Some of his friends are here. Let me introduce you. This is Dorian Lord, and her nieces Blair Daimler and Kelly Kramer.
Hello. So you're Dorian Lord?
Yes. You've heard of me? From Mel?
At considerable length.
Why would Mel have mentioned me to Dr. Maud?
Maybe because Dr. Maud is his mother. I'm Mary Hayes. Dr. Mary Maud Boylan Hayes.
This puts a whole new spin on not revealing one's sources. Though, now that I think about it, Mel did drop a hint or two. It's a real honor to meet you. I just wish it was under better circumstances.
Now, Mel tells me that you were trained as a physician. So tell me exactly, what is his status?
He's in critical condition. He was only hit by one bullet, but it damaged a lung and his liver.
And was there much hemorrhaging?
They had to perform an emergency liver resection. He lost so much blood that he went into arrest in the OR, and it took a long time to resuscitate him.
So there might be brain damage.
They won't know until he wakes up.
Well, that's obviously the first item on the agenda. Thank you very much. I want to see him. Let him come.
His friends seem nice enough, but I just couldn't wait for you to get here.
Oh, darling, it's a real double whammy, isn't it? You're guilty as sin because you haven't spoken to your father in months. And you're sick with grief because you're afraid you're not going to be able to.
Right, as usual.
Well, now, you were furious with that man in there because his drinking was totally out of control, and you tried to stop him the best and only way you knew how.
And he hated me for it.
Cosmetically, but deep down, he knew that what you were giving him was the toughest kind of love. Just as deep down you know that he's never stopped loving you. Now, do you have a handkerchief?
Tissues.
Well, go sit, use them. I'll be back in a minute.
Mayor, he'll be okay, won't he?
Listen to me, child. When that station wagon filled with reporters that were covering the Freedom Riders went off the Mahatchee River Bridge in '63 because some cretin had shot out the tires, Mel walked out of that wreck without a scratch. Now, that's when I was convinced that he had 9 lives. Now, even with all the riots and the wars that he's covered since, he's only used up 2 or 3 of those lives, maybe 4 at the most. Don't count him out.
I won't. My marriage to Todd is based on one thing and one thing only. Money. Emotion was never part of the deal.
Until now.
It doesn't fit. I mean, how can I let myself love Star? I mean, really love her. It just gets in the way.
Yeah, those pesky feelings. It's that devil called life.
You don't understand. This has never happened to me before. Never. I'm a contract wife and mommy, but this is more than a deal. I feel committed to Star for sure. And even to Todd. Oh, I know, but he needs someone to listen to him and to protect him from his own worst instincts.
Someone like you?
Well, I'm his wife.
Then you should go home to your husband and your daughter. Be a good wife.
I didn't protect Patrick any more or less than I would any other client.
And you go to the mat for all your clients that you represent, honey.
That's right. That's my job.
And my job is to find out why Patrick Thornhart was targeted last night.
Good. Then why don't you do that?
I'm trying to. I'm trying to do my job under pressure from Washington, Ireland, points in between. To do my job, though, I need facts. I need you to tell me everything you know about Patrick.
That's attorney-client privilege.
Your client's dead, isn't he?
I suppose if you were to indulge in a little speculation, I might not leave the room.
Hey.
Bullseye. Greenwood Crematorium in Hazardville. That's what we got on.
Marty was there?
According to the funeral director.
What did he say?
Took a time to get the story out of him, but it's like you figured. Marty showed up late and wanted the guy to cremate Patrick's body right then and there.
And he did it.
No questions asked. The widow took the ashes.
Great job, Benny. Listen, I want you to keep a lid on this for a while, okay?
Okay, no problem.
Thanks.
All right.
How does this little tidbit fit into our speculation?
You go first.
Fine. Let's start with what we know. Patrick was 1 day away from being questioned by the Irish authorities.
For the Whiting bomb, yes?
All right, now to the speculation. Let's say that Patrick was involved in the bombing.
Okay, we could say that.
All right, so it's safe to assume other people were involved. Maybe they were concerned that Patrick might rat on them. They were so concerned that they would come all the way to Landview and shoot him, just to shut him up.
Plausible.
Mm-hmm. So the shooter had an accomplice, too. And they were going to move at the wedding, except Mill, he got in the way of the bullet that was intended for Patrick. The accomplice was killed, but the main guy got away. So Patrick went after him. He confronted him at Todd's penthouse.
Patrick was shot.
Yeah, and Todd saw that happen. And Todd also said that he heard Patrick address the shooter by name, Mahoney, and vice versa.
And Patrick shot Mahoney.
But Patrick's hurt. And he's declared dead at the scene. So the EMS drivers, they put him in an ambulance. Except that the grieving widow, since she happens to be an MD, she's allowed to ride along in the ambulance all the way to the hospital.
Where Patrick disappears.
Yeah.
So does Marty, for that matter.
See, the question is, how did she carry Patrick away? Patrick is a pretty big guy. I'll give you the answer. She couldn't. Now, either she had help, or she didn't even need it.
Are you suggesting that Patrick isn't dead?
I'm just speculating.
Please continue.
Patrick was a tough guy. Maybe he was even tougher than we even thought. Now, what if he started to show signs of life in the ambulance? What do you think would happen?
Well, Marty is a superlative doctor, and adoring newlywed would certainly bust her hump to make sure that Patrick stayed alive.
And safe. So when they got to the ambulance and the EMS guys took the body out of the ambulance, she says, I will handle it from here. And she did, in her way.
She signs a death certificate. And then she goes to a storage room and she gets antibiotics, bandages, and some other stuff. And she hustles Patrick right out of that hospital.
They drive to Hazardville, and they make a deal with the funeral director.
Who probably has a couple of kids he'd like to put through college.
3. Yeah. See, a guy in his position, I don't think he'd mind claiming that he cremated Patrick if he was going to get a nice big chunk of Marty Saybrook's inheritance.
Well, anything is possible. I mean, because after all, it is merely speculation.
Mm-hmm. And Marty and Patrick end up alive and well and living happily ever after in hiding. Mahoney's dead. That other creep's dead. Patrick's been declared dead. I think the Whiting case would have to be closed due to a lack of witnesses.
And Patrick is safe. And Marty, Patrick, and the baby, they live that peaceful life that's been so long and hard coming.
End of story.
It's a very interesting bit of speculation. Intriguing. The next question is, Commissioner, what do you plan to do with it?
Where the hell you been?
You told me to get out.
I told you to leave me alone. What's the difference?
A little early to be drinking.
What are you, my wife?
This place is a wreck.
Yeah. Next time I'll let somebody else host the shooting. You know what Poetry Boy's famous last words were?
No, I was a little out of it at the time.
He said that he saved my life. And that I was gonna have to live with that. Miserable Mick. Always did know how to ruin everybody's time.
Check it out.
You cannot do this to me. I have endured 52 years of exasperation and anxiety and pain and rage and fear, but I will not accept this from you. Because beyond all that, you've given me joy. So much joy. And such pride in you. And the most singular love. You will not die before your mother. You may not behave like this. Damn it, Mel, wake up!
Oh, my God. You're here. Mare.
Yes.
Patrick was right. You will have to deal with his death.
Thank you.
But it's up to you how you choose to do that. As I see it, you have two choices.
All right, what's the first choice?
Well, you can tell me whatever it is you feel guilty
Who
about.
says I feel guilty about anything?
If you do, say because of something you might have inadvertently done to bring about Patrick's death, if that were the case, and you felt the need to clear your conscience, we could go to the police together.
What's the second choice?
Put it behind you and let it go. You want my advice? Choose Plan B.
Did that come from my lawyer or the wife?
Both. Patrick's dead, Todd. Find a way to accept his parting shot and let it go. Move on. After all, it's not like you have nothing to move on to. You and I have a life to lead and a child to raise, right?
You're not answering me.
It's a tough question to answer, honey, because new issues have been raised that cast a new light on this case. You know, even though it is mere speculation.
It's mere at best.
Well, I'm an officer of the law. I don't deal in speculation. I deal in facts. Now, these are the facts. We have a witness, Todd Manning. He saw Mahoney shoot Patrick. Patrick was pronounced dead. An ambulance took him to the hospital where a physician, Dr. Marty Saybrook, signed a death certificate. And we have a funeral director who can produce a certificate of cremation.
Yeah, those are the facts, all right.
Mm-hmm. Just like Marty said in her note, though, all the pieces just seem to fit together.
Yeah, I think they fit perfectly.
And I see no reason not to respect the wishes of a young widow to be left alone to mourn and heal.
Yeah, mourning and healing. The two very biggies, very important.
I'm going to get in touch with the FBI and the Irish authorities and the media, and I'm going to tell them that as far as the Lambview Police Department is concerned, this case is closed, if that's acceptable to you.
Sure, that's acceptable to me. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Aren't I the lucky one? My doctor not only makes house calls, she stays.
She always will. Just 3 more days, and we'll be leaving. That's how well your wound's healing.
72 hours tucked away in a cozy country inn. Just you and me behind closed doors. Sounds like a fine honeymoon.
That's all I need.
Is it? You ready to leave your life behind? Not see your friends again? Not walk the streets of your hometown?
Sound like I'm going into exile.
Aren't you?
No. I'm leaving it.
What do you mean?
I'm leaving pain and isolation and loss and hopes crushed over and over again. We'll make our way to Ireland and we'll find a little thatched hut and we'll have our baby and we'll be happy. And it won't be an illusion. My fairy tale, it will be real. I love you, Patrick Thornhart.
No more than I love you, Margaret Thornhart.